Hello everyone, I am Tacet and welcome to the Gems of War Guild Wars Week 71, Day 1, and today of course is a Red Guild War Day. What's also pretty irrelevant about today of course is, as I've been mentioning for a while, Life and Death is available. If we go over to Soulforge, only for today, Life and Death is right over here, right there. It is only available for right now. You can get it by two different ways. You could either craft it right here for 2 Celestials, 400 brown and purple, 200 diamonds, and 10,000 souls. Or, if you don't want to get it by that means, you can go and spend, you can go under games, go under the faction event for this week, or for today, sorry, not this week, just for today, of Silver Necropolis. And once you go to Silver Necropolis, you just go to shop. And it is a total of 410 gems, I believe it is. 90 to 10. Yeah, 410. So you can also get it for 410 gems instead. So you have either 410 gems or crafting it in Soulforge. However, it is only available today and is only available for 5 hours and 52 more minutes. So yeah, make sure to pick that up if you haven't already. Of course, that's only available for today, and then it'll be back probably a couple months from now. As many of you know, Life and Death's actually pretty viable as far as weapons are concerned. You'll see it a lot in Guild War days. Also, I completely forgot to set my Guild War days earlier, and apparently they all defaulted to the exact same team, which I believe is what some random team I currently have to defend. We were just messing with a Hiking Iron Good Zugov instant kill team. This can actually run... you can actually use this for Explore 12 if you want to. But unfortunately, it got set as my defend. However, it did go 1-7, so I guess it's not doing too bad. Actually, apparently my guild's doing pretty good if we've only gotten 8 battles so far as Paragon, because we are Paragons. So hopefully we'll do good throughout the week. Seen a lot of 4-1s though, so hopefully we don't mess up here. So we'll start off with Red Guild War, then we'll probably mess around with the faction, and maybe even mess around with the new troops I ended up coming in the other day. I still, unfortunately, have not been able to get that video up. I'm sorry. I don't know. I just haven't really been feeling that well today and just couldn't get it in. But I really, really, really need to soon. The event video. Still feels like it keeps going later and later sometimes. Completely my fault. But anyways, guys, there's some of the teams for the video as well. But let's go and do Red Guild War Day. So let's start with this. Go right down to our red team. Where is my red team? There it is, all the way at the top. I almost replaced it earlier. We're running Yagwe Queen of Tanya for it as far as the team we'll be rolling with right now. Also, hello everyone. Didn't even say all the hellos. Hello Zero. Hello Army X Tube. Hello Bill. Hello Birdleaf. Hello Foro. Hello Cookie. Hello Jelly Bean. Hello Soul Jumper. Hello Zex. Hello Tyranny. Hello Lochnar. And hello everyone else. Welcome, welcome. Okay, don't flip tables. Stop flipping all the tables. Anyways, let's get into it. I don't think we need to change anything, right? It's Red Guild War. We're running this. We're running with Sunspear. Let me double check I'm running correct Sunspear perks. I don't think we need anything different for this, but let me make sure I'm writing in the right ones. Freeze at start of battle. Immune to freeze. Free and tangle at start. Do we need a storm? No, we automatically have red storm. Submerge. Because we're not running that heavy on red. However, we could give a bunch of extra magic, but I think the submerge will do better to us. Then a little bit of extra red mana and the triple damage to burning, which I don't think we could use either of the other two perks. Unfortunately, we don't really have a way to burn with this team, so anything off its final perk will do nothing in this particular battle, unfortunately. But it looks like we're up against a web spinner. That's a little bit concerning with this team. I guess we'll still run it though. If we can get an early Dawnbringer, that won't matter as much, but that could be a little threatening. Oh wait, there is one more thing we need to switch. I just realized because our armor is so high. I'm currently running pure armor on metals. We definitely need to go change that to not pure armor. Would be very helpful. Luckily we got a really good starting board, so that makes up for it some. Let's go do this onto green, and it should be good to go from there. Storm doing a lot of work. We get our alignments. We do not have 13 red, so it's gonna have to go for that. Killed the web spinner before it even got a turn. Is that a turn 1 win? Feels like a turn 1 win. Sure came close to it. And then we can go do a Yagwe Dawnbringer or Dawnbringer Yagwe. What's his alignment on skulls right now? He's going to poke us once, so with that being said, we should probably Dawnbringer him then. Unless we're going to do something crafty on the board. I don't think we have any kind of guarantee thing on the board though. We could take this into red, but then we don't have enough mana to do any follow-up. So I think it is better to go the Yagwe route. He doesn't have any extra turn when he converts away to yellows, and he's probably just going to swipe that skull. So we'll do this. He'll do a thing. And, oh, he did have alignment now, but luckily he did not cast for it. And now he is dead. Let's go to this, do it this way so we get a little bit of mana. And that is that. Okay, now before I forget again, let me go change my perks. because we can't not have those good benefits. Armor is pretty useless. HP would be good. Magic would be good. Given that we don't have mana start, I think we'll go into that, or we could go the HP route. What else needs magic? Well, yeah, I guess Queen Titania. So we'll roll like this. 20% mana start into 8 magic, just so it gets going a little bit quicker, and so we have the higher damage there. So that will help things out just a little bit. Also, while I'm here, that does remind me, I did have to kick someone earlier, so if anyone's still looking for a guild, do let me know. We are in need of 1 member. So if anyone's still interested, if you could do 1 million+ gold per week and do high-level guild wars under other related guild events, we always get everything maxed out and everything as normal. Let me know, because we still have 1 spot left. Anyways, let's go back to guild wars. See if we can maintain our Paragon. Hopefully we could go deathless this week. We'll see. Not against a team like that, we won't be able to. Do I need to revamp anything? I don't think so. It really just comes down to rush damage and hope we win. Is pretty much a strategy. Red does not have many options to skull mitigate. There is a legend that has it. I mean, a mythic. However, the biggest concern with that mythic is it blocks a lot of mana. And even though it gets a tank, due to how much mana it blocks, you could die by the time you even get mana on something, due to how much it's blocking you. So right here, we have a red to yellow. We're frozen on the mana, though, so I'm not really that tempted to take. However, if we can get a sky red, I guess that's worth it, or sky brown, neither of which actually landed. But now we can go for our explosion, hopefully get a extra turn on something. I really need his freeze to go away. Luckily, it just did. Unfortunately, though, we do not have Yagwe mana, which we had perfect alignment for. Do we still have it? Please say yes. Okay, we won. That's match. We do that. We get Yagwe. Good job, Yagwe. Carry the entire battle. And then you auto-win, because that's what Yagwe Queen Titania does. I still don't have Queen Titania medaled, but yeah, we did finally get Yagwe maxed a little while ago. He's my only gold medaled mythic. I mean, a legend, sorry. I have not done any mythics yet. But out of every single legend, he's the only one I've fully maxed out. And I think I'm doing Queen Titania next, just because this combo is still very devastating when it works properly. And that battle right there is what it looks like when it works properly. Okay, what do we need here? You kind of just want to cast a Leprechaun. Unfortunately, can't just use it. You want a red or a brown then to get us going, so we'll take that red. Unfortunately, oh, we don't have +1 on red? Wait, what? Oh, no, we do. We just didn't search. Oh, okay, I was going to say. We have plenty of +1s on red. I was going to say. We're like 1 billion into red. But it's because it didn't surge is why we didn't get the full mana there. So he's about the Essence of Evil. The least consequential thing he could do that on right now, based on his team, is either going to be Dawnbringer or Queen Titania. If he does it on our first slot, we're in trouble. Okay. Well then. That's problematic. Do we just let him die? I think we just have to let him die. We don't have any backup summon with this team. We could lose this. I guess we take Red Surge. Hope we have alignment somewhere. Let's go from there. So he'll do a thing. As long as he doesn't kill that, we should be okay. Good. Problem, though. Oh, okay, we do have alignment. What are we frozen? Oh, no. The freeze made us frozen on red, though. Though we're not frozen on blue, so I guess I could grab that real quick. We're also not frozen on yellow, so we could grab that as well. And then we go for a cast. Do we take this now? Yeah, we're not frozen on it. However, it does get away some of our red mana that we could be getting otherwise. So here we get a lot of mana back. Unfortunately, we are frozen on red due to Essence of Evil, though. So we'll definitely just do this and then get a recast. Get his stats back up so he hopefully doesn't die to something. There goes a bunch of greens. I don't think we have an option for it right now. We're not frozen on green. We can go get barriers back up, so that's good. I'll take that for now. Yagwe, probably not worth going for at the moment. Wish we could see how much mana it currently has. I assume not enough to cast, but we'll go for Dawnbringer for now. It doesn't have any Submerge or anything, so we'll go for that. What hero class are you using? You're using Plague Lord. That would explain all the diseases. What do we grab? Ideally, we want this to cleanse out. We can't currently do that. I guess I could try for Sky Brown extra turn. The only problem is we get poked if it fails, so I'd rather go for something a little bit safer, of which is probably taking this red and hope we get Skull for Sky. Seems like our safest bet from what I can tell. I don't think we see anything else here. So we'll go for that. Okay, we did get right off the Sky. Nice. There's a Skull just sitting there. He's about to do another Essence of Evil. I could poke him preemptively, and I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Just because we can bait out the barrier. We can bait out the Skull with barrier. He doesn't go for it, though. Oh, he got No! No, that is very, 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 very excessively unlucky. We probably would have won if it wasn't for that. Well, it's still winnable. If nothing else, they increased our attack, because it actually has higher attack than what we had. But he just hit a 10% chance to transform us into Toad. If it'll go. But yeah, it has a 10% chance. It's actually the only weapon in the game that has it. Eventually it'll get there. Next screen. But yeah, this weapon has a 10% chance to, right there, 10% chance to transform the first enemy into a giant toad. That's unlucky. Okay, well, now we have a higher attack, so just a different strategy at this point. We have to bait him out into taking skulls. We ideally want green as well, however, that green gives him skull, and ideally I want him to bait himself into that. And that's exactly what he does. Perfect. We are frozen on red, however, obviously we're taking it for the skull, not for the red. Nice double skull. Thank you. Some luck to at least make up that extremely bad luck. We're going to probably win this battle, but it is a very unfortunate win. Let's still win. Unless something really messes up. Well, it's still possible. Never mind. Deathmark can still troll us. The other one's still deathmarked. And we're in one-shot range of Toad dying. Don't you dare die to Deathmark. Don't you dare die to Deathmark. This game literally comes down to, does our hero die to Deathmark? Good, it does not die to Deathmark. Good job, hero. You got this. Well, one troop left. We technically won, though. It's not over yet, but if there's almost impossible we lose now. Though he's sure gonna try. He sure is gonna try. Okay, and now he's dead. Well, then. Well, we won. Not much of a win, but we won. That was a lot of unlucky things back to back. Let's try it again. Okay, here's a Life and Death team. As I mentioned, highly 100% advised to go get Life and Death today. It is craftable today and only today and won't be available again for several months from now. So make sure to go get it. It's pretty cheap in SoulForge, or you can buy for 410 gems. 100% should get it before the end of the day. But yeah, it's mostly ran for Guild Wars Defend team. So if you don't pick it up, it's not too big a deal outside of Guild Wars. However, it is an insanely good Guild War option to have. And definitely 100% advised to go and get it. Okay, so Yagwe, we'll go get this down. Get our decent amount of damage right there. We can then just do that right into a Queen Titania for free, and then right back into Yagwe. So it looks like we got the proper loop this time around, which ideally it'll do every single time, but obviously it won't due to just getting unlucky sometimes. So this is a bit of a weird board. Biggest issue right now is the webs that we actually have on us, oddly enough. Is a little bit annoying, just because he kept getting summons. Whenever he summons something, he gets web. And that's a little problematic with the team we have right now, as everything on our team likes having high damage. I'll take that for now. That will give him green, but I think it's worth it. He'll just go poke us or something. We have our 2 main damages still up, so I think that's match at this point. So we did that. Luckily, the webs didn't hit our main 2, and he's dead now. So that worked a lot smoother. Also, it looks like we'll have 1.9k already. So we could get all of our glory keys from PvP. And let's go take out this final battle. What's the score looking like? It's about tied, actually. Actually, we're slightly ahead. No, it's about tie. Because if you count the fact that they're about 1.5 people down, it's about the exact same score. How are we on leaderboard? We are third, oddly enough. Interesting. Not sure how that will hold once we get all the battles in, but we are third. We are missing a person, though, this week for Guild Wars. But due to 27 out of 30, I think that shouldn't matter. For the most part. It matters from day-to-day wins, but I don't think it matters to the overall score by the end of it all. Okay, so let's take red, hope it surges, get explosion down, go from there. I'm actually going to bait out a skull because he's entangled, so I'm going to deliberately let him take that. Bait it out so he just wastes his turn for the most part. He did get some mana out of it, but it wasn't really that useful of a mana. So we'll do that. Ideally, Queen Titania would have gotten to full. A little bit unfortunate that she didn't. Only 1 mana short of all things. Actually, never mind. We can still get it. Nice. Is there still enough red? Exactly so. Very nice. That worked out perfectly. I did not have a drop for that skull, so we're just going to have to pass our turn. Let him hit on barrier, which will do no damage, and that helps preserve our score. Because when something does 0 damage to your barrier, that does count as 0 damage, and not them actually doing the damage. Even though it sometimes shows like a damage splat on it, that does not actually count as damage towards how Guild War gets scored. And there we go. A little bit low of a score, but it's the obvious reason why that is so low. That one battle where we only had 1 troop left is what took away a good majority of those points. But I'll take it. For how bad that one battle went, it's a decent score, I guess. But yeah, that one battle just horrifically lowered the score. Because not only did it drag on for a while, not only did we take probably more damage than the enemy, But we also only had one troop left that was pretty much almost dead by the end of it. Yeah, that was a very unlucky turn of events. Also, I'm not sure if it counts that way for Guild Wars. I'm actually not 100% certain. But if an enemy transforms you in Guild Wars, I'm not sure if that actually counts as a death for Guild Wars scoring or not. I know it does in Factions. I don't think it does in Guild Wars, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But anyways, because he did get a transform on us, which could theoretically have counted as a kill. But there we go. At least we didn't die. And yeah, it looks like quite a few other people that had 5-0 also had a little bit of trouble with their score, because every single one seems to be around like the 9,200, 9,300 area. Well, there we go. I'll take it. And our defend team did pretty bad because they set the wrong defend team. No, not too bad. Really, 1-7. The fact that it even got a win is pretty nice, though. It probably got a win just due to pure luck Iron Gut into randomly getting a Zoogoth to just end the battle. Is likely how that thing got its one win. But anyways, that's that. I actually have a 100 gem thing today as well, which is pretty nice. And everyone has a 50 gem thing. Or sorry, not 50. Yeah, it is 50, which you'll get off of that. Also, speaking of 50 gems, Valentine's Day is around the corner, and I believe we're going to be getting something for that. As far as the flash offer today, it's just the Imp of Love. This is not worth going for. 500 gems with Imp of Love is pretty low value. You can get Imp of Love currently in Glory Gem Guild and VIP chests, similar to the Mythic that's still available until the end of this Friday. You can still do the exact same thing with the Imp of Love, except it will be lasting all the way until the end of March, so you have plenty of time to go and get that. Yeah, you could either get it this Mythic or sometime within the month if you want to get a random Mythic, or for next Mythic. Opening Glory Gem Guild or VIP chest for next Mythic will also have a chance at Imp of Love. So really not much of a need to go get it. It's also not really meta anymore. At one point it was the best of the Imps, however these days not so much. Right now Winter Imp is definitely the best of the 6 Imps, which was the previous 2 months of December and January. But anyways, let's go and start poking down some of the random dailies. And then go start heading to factions. Of course, you can get life and death through it, but of course we can also just do the normal event, which is what we'll be doing for the little bit of loot, the orbs, and all that good stuff. But first things first, let's go and clear this out with Quick Explore. Still trying to level up Barbarian, of course. I want to get this to 70 so we can actually start using it to some capacity. At 70, it will have pretty much full capability, because at 100 it doesn't really gain a particularly good perk from doing so. Did you miss your weekly video? No, I didn't end up putting it up yet, unfortunately. I need to do that very soon. Very, very soon, TM. But yeah, as far as the faction events, it's Silver Necropolis. What are the 2 colors for? I believe it was red and purple, right? I'm pretty sure it was red and purple. Or am I thinking of, never mind. I think I'm thinking about the undead one. Never mind, it's not red, purple. I need to go double check what its color is. And then we can figure out what team we're going to run for it. Because I'm not even certain yet. Find out in a second. Actually, let me go find out right now. It is the coloration of, oh, purple-brown. Yeah, red-purple, I was thinking of, I always confuse it with Crypt, because they're right next to each other and somewhat similar in theme. But yeah, Crypt is the one that's red-purple. I always confuse it with that one. But yeah, it's brown-purple, same as Life and Death. I should remember that. It's literally just the exact same as Life and Death as far as the coloration. But yeah, brown-purple, so we could run Leprechaun, that means. So we could run Leprechaun into Gargoyles. That seems like a fun way to go. Yeah, we could just do Leprechaun to Gargoyles and do something like that if we want. So let's go get the 1 reward thing just so we have enchant. Run that. Go click on fights. And we could just run... I currently have a High King Iron Gut safety team with Sylvania Moore in it. That's probably what we ran to get to 500. However, that's not what we're running now. What we're running now is... probably just go to Gargoyle method. Gargoyle. Leprechaun. And... I guess we'll go Mountain. And we just run that. Double Gargoyle, cast, win, dead. And you just do immediate Leprechaun into immediate Mountain Crusher into Gargoyle kills. And that's all you'd really need. And what do we go for minus? I'm actually going to minus the Gargoyle. I mean the Leprechaun. Actually, is there a different way to get brown-red? I think you have to minus purple is the only way. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so we'll just go heavier on brown because we'll have brown storm, and there we go. +2 brown, +1 red, -1 purple, immediate leprechaun cast, don't cast it again, do mountain crusher, gargoyles, dead, and then just keep repeating if you needed more damage from there, but that should already be enough damage. That's all you'd need to do. And we'll just run this with a hero class we want EXP for. For example, Barbarian, where are you? There we go. It would be better with a half mana start hero class, however it's not required. And this is all we'd have to run. And it's relatively cheap. Gargoyles you get pretty easily off of throwing shards at Hall of Guardians. Leprechaun's random drop, but it's only an ultra rare. And Mountain Crusher you'd probably have by about a level 150 or so. So a pretty cheap team overall. And as far as killing, all you'd have to do is just Gargoyle into Gargoyle, and that will kill every single battle. Just wait for the second Gargoyle, and dead. And we can just rinse and repeat that until we win. Every single one. And that's all we'd need for all these battles. But before we do, let's go finish out these. And then probably hand out a code soon. We'll probably do this, do dungeons, hand out code, and then finish out all of the faction for the day. Let's see. We'll throw that down for now. And get our instant kill. And apparently a level 4 Barbarian as well. Hello, Osman. You want to join the guild? Sure. What level are you? We could probably get you in. As long as you can do the 1,000,000+ gold per week. I don't think we have anyone else on reserve at the moment. And if we do, there are a few other people that we could probably kick out who's been a little bit inactive. But Osman, as long as you can do the requirements, we can get you in right now. Just give me your invite code. And we'll get you in. Hey, Glory Gnome. Very nice to see. Okay, we'll get that done. And just get our kill. Unfortunately, those two still survive. And he's dead. 500 glory, nice. Okay, let me go get you in then. As soon as we finish out this battle in one shots. Okay, let me go get you in. Where was the invite thingy? Guild admin, recruit, invite. I think I'll just type it out manually. Osman, because it always adds like that weird space afterwards whenever you like copy it in. That should be it, right? Yep, there we go. Invites, recruit. I just clicked fight, and there we go. Welcome to the guild. There we go. Okay, let's go finish these up. I know, the 4 extra letters that added is pretty funny. That is definitely pretty funny. It's completely randomly generated. I'm actually really curious. What are the funniest ones you've guys seen so far for the 4 extra characters? Because it could be any 4 random ones. And I don't think they have any kind of censor as to what it can actually be. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone has some really, really funny ones. That's probably the funniest one I've seen so far. Which is why I ask. I think it has to have at least one number, though. I'm not 100% certain, though. But there might be some with all letters. But anyways, that's that down. Let's go clear out dungeons real quick. Let's run this with the Phoenicia team, wherever that is, right there. Hey, yours is Nacho. Oh yeah, I love nachos too. There's not any good nacho place nearby me, though. Actually, that's one nacho place I haven't been to that I might if I get to the airport very early. There's actually a nacho place inside my airport, and I've heard it's actually not that bad. It's like one of the only few places to even eat at my airport because it's a relatively small airport. Let's see. I'll take that over. The next time I go traveling, I might need to check it out. I know there's a lot of nacho places kind of near my area. The only problem is none of them are walking distance. Yes, and one of those is a nacho hippo. I've been there before. I don't actually recall how I thought of their food. I think I liked it. I think I liked it, but it was a little pricey, I think is what ended up happening. I've only ever been there once, and it was like a while ago. Like I was like 14 or something at the time. So it's been like over a decade. It's been a very long time. But anyways, that was all of them, right? All that's cleared. All that is cleared. Okay. So let's go hand out code, and then let's go finish off action. And by finish off action, I mean pretty much start it, because we only did like 2 battles. 1 or 2 battles. But anyways, I'm gonna go get code. Let's see. Where'd the code go? Code. This should be the right code. Let's double check. Put that there, put that there, put that there, put that there, put that there. Copy, paste. And here you guys go. Here is the redeem code. Use it on gemsofwar.com underneath the game code section. Right there. And your invite code can be found underneath your settings menu, whatever game says in the bottom left, right over there. Redeem code's right over there in chat. Just copy, paste the random numbers and letters. And it gives the same reward as always: 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, and 2,500 gold. Enjoy, everyone. It's only usable on PC mobile version. And again, do not forget, if anyone's just getting here now, I cannot mention it enough, but do not forget to go get Dawnbringer. I mean, not Dawnbringer, Life and Death. Life and Death is only available today, and it won't be available for several months until after today. So definitely make sure to go get it. 100% go get it. It is a really good value. It's a relatively cheap weapon to craft too. Like it's like 8 times cheaper, or maybe not 8 times. It's like 5 times cheaper to craft than a doomed weapon. So really nice to pick up. Anyways, let's go and clear out this event. You can also get it for 410 gems from the event shop. Either way you want to go about it. Anyways, let's just kill it out with gargoyles. A Deathbringer. It is a Deathbringer. One of the reasons why it's so good is it gains a bunch of life while blessing itself. And it can synergize very well into Orb Weaver. There's a lot of synergy in that regard. It's like Life and Death, but also has Barrier. Oh, wait, you mean the other weapon? Which one are you referring to? There are a few weapons that are somewhat like it. The main reason why Life and Death tends to be the better option is it has 2 times Death Mark. It gets to keep the HP rather than just doing true damage, where some of them don't get to keep the HP. And the third factor is Bless. Bless is... I was gonna say, because I don't recall something that's exactly like that. I know there are similar weapons, like there's weapons that do double true damage, will have some similar effects like Life and Death, but none of them cover as much ground as Life and Death. All the things that make it good is it has a small mana drain the first slot, which can be very annoying. 2 or 3 mana drain might not seem like much, but it's enough to make it so you don't have enough mana to have full. And I believe it's a 3, so you wouldn't even have full if you had enchant on you. It has Bless, which makes it so it's a lot harder to kill by giving it a lot of immunities. It has a bunch of life gain, which again also makes it harder to kill by having just higher life, which is the main thing you need to not die. In combination with Bless makes it really hard to kill. And then also has double death mark, so even if you're losing, you just randomly have the chance to just auto win. You saw that during one of our Guild War battles today. Life and Death got a double death mark on us, and it killed one of it. And I was hoping that it wouldn't kill our hero, because if it randomly killed our hero, we would have lost the battle. Luckily it did not, but it can, and it does on occasion. It didn't in that instance. We got lucky enough that it didn't, but it does do that. Very strong weapon. Hello, Dertero. Welcome. Okay, enough we need to move there. Actually, you know, I should have went for Skull first. Given how the method that we're using to killing actually would be quicker to have gone for the Skull. Actually, it might even be quicker just for these earlier battles to go for a full AoE cast until double gargoyle is actually required. Otherwise, this is a little bit slower until then. We'll go for this one. Then we'll take top one, then bottom right, and be good to go. Hello, Dinosaur Girl, or Dinosaur Girl. Welcome. It also, oh yeah, it synergizes very well with Orb Weaver class. And the main reason for that is you get a backup tank, so you have even more tankiness to go with it. But, and given that it barely dies, you get to use that a lot. The Orb Weaver thing only triggers when you take HP damage, and Life and Death makes it so you have a lot of HP. And the other reason is it feeds purple into you. So Giant Spider can create purple, and that purple will help cast Life and Death even more, which will allow you to stay alive, which will allow you to summon more Giant Spiders, and the loop just continues. What do you think about the Flesh Ripper weapon? It's okay. It's not anything special. It's one of those armor tier weapons like Mang, but it's rather underwhelming. There's a few of them that are kind of like that are situationally okay as far as those armor tier weapons. Flesh Ripper is one of them. Another one is that one that does like triple damage if you have less life than the enemy or something. Similar to those regards. And they're okay, but they're just so situational that you wouldn't really ever use them much. And Flesh Ripper is one of those. How do you win against Key Team? There's a few troops that can reduce down gold, but the easiest way is Barrier. Key Team is very bad against Barrier because most Key teams run Key as its only damage source. So if you just run Barrier, that will not only deny its extra turn because it won't be able to secure either kill, but it will also make it so it does no damage. And a Key that does an extra turn is really bad value in most situations. So you can just kind of keep Barrier spamming against it to make sure it never does anything. It's probably a little bit easier than gold denying it. But there are troops that also gold deny. Like that one blue-purple from City of Thieves that denies all enemies gold. But it's normally easier just to go down the Barrier method. What do you think about the new faction troops for next weekend? I don't think I looked at them yet. Until Monday, we won't know definitively what they're going to be, because there's a chance that they might tweak it. But we can go show them real quick. I don't see why not. I don't think I've properly looked at them yet. I might have skimmed over them a little bit earlier, but might as well. We can go make mention of it. Bring it right up on screen. Let me see. Let's go get it as soon as we finish out this battle. But yeah, let me go find it. Click yes, click less, spam pass all this, claim our loots for the first one, and there we go. Okay, before we get to the next one, let's go find, what was that again? Did I mistype that? Nope, okay, good. Okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for, troop spoilers. Okay, so let's go get all these up. 1, 2, 3, and I think this is the right one. 4. Okay, that didn't quite work correctly. Let's see. Let me click on it. Let me copy the thing. I'm not sure why some of these are different like this. Let me get that out, and then I make another paste, and there we go. Okay, so let's go look at these real quick. So first, let's put them in order of rarity. They almost already were. There we go. Okay, so first, the rare. The Chaos Hound is a rare from the new faction coming out next week's Friday. Not this Friday, but next week's Friday. So, Chaos Hound. It creates 7 to 10 skulls for 10 mana cost, or creates 6 to 8 Doom Skulls, or summon a Chaos Hound. If it wasn't for the fact that his third option was summon a Chaos Hound, that actually wouldn't be too bad. It would be a low rarity troop that has the capability of summoning or doing either skulls or Doom Skulls. Very random amount on all of it. It does have Death Touch, which is pretty good synergy with the fact that it creates skulls. The fact that it has a 1/3 chance to summon itself, though, or I believe that's itself, right? Chaos Hound? Yeah. The fact that it has a chance to summon itself, I feel, is going to be pretty bad, though, because if you're using this thing, you probably want skulls, and you don't want him to summon himself. There might be some situations where that could be useful, but I personally do not think it's going to be that viable. Wait, what's his flavor text? Where even is the flavor text on these things? He's not humping your leg. He's stealing your soul. That is pretty funny. That is pretty hilarious. Yeah, there's some pretty nice flavor text. I don't always read them all. Actually, I don't read most of them. But that one is pretty funny. Also, and every single troop in the entire game has one, too. There's like, what, 800, 900 troops? Every single one has one, which is pretty cool. But, yeah, that one's actually pretty funny. But, yeah, it's overall going to be a pretty bad troop. It's like early game skull spam, but even then you'd probably be better off just using the Guardian troops if you wanted an early game skull spam like Justice or Courage or something like that. Anyways, as far as ultra rare, it is a Dementor. Wait, yeah, I said that right. As far as what it does, it drains all mana from an enemy, or stop with all these ors, or steal magic +1 attack from an enemy. That seems to be the theme of this faction, isn't it? Okay, so what it does is drain all mana from an enemy, or steal magic +1 attack from an enemy, or silence an enemy. So the first and last one makes a somewhat amount of sense. However, the fact that the other one is steal attack seems kind of misplaced, because the other two are both based on mana, and then the other one's based on attack. So a little bit of a weird mix. Also, that value for its cast amount is pretty bad. It's 12 mana cost, and every single one of those things individually is pretty bad. You can do a mana drain, full mana drains, for as cheap as about 9, while still having a follow-up effect. For the stealing of attack, you can easily steal way more attack than how much that thing's going to steal. And, for example, Salvini Mora, which is the first new troop ever added to the game, does that better, surprisingly. And other than that, though they have tweaked it since then to make it better. It used to not be as good. But anyways, and silencing enemy for 12 mana cost is insanely bad value. So, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's up with that, but it's pretty bad. It does have Impervious, which I guess is something good for going for it. However, if you wanted something similar, Mana Core is 7 mana drain with an Impervious for only 9 mana cost. So, I don't know. I just don't feel like this thing's going to get used much. But 20% Agile to Impervious, I guess trait-wise, it's a little bit redeemable, but its ability is horrifically bad. It might be actually used as the tank for this place, though, oddly enough, even though its ability you probably never touch. Next up, we have the Crazed Troll, and as far as what it does for the epic, it creates a mix of blue and purple equal to, oh, it's one of those kind of trolls, equal to the current number of blue and purple on the board. There are several trolls already set up like this. This one's for blue and purple, which are two pretty good colors. His traits are not really anything noteworthy. So yeah, he's just kind of one of those troll things. Nothing really too special about him. There are multiple troops like this. It might have some kind of synergy if a team ever needs a lot of blue and purple, but very rarely would he ever bother using this thing. And lastly, let's see if this thing's actually useful. A panda. We got ourselves a Laraza. As far as what she does, it deals magic +3 damage to all enemies, or jumble the board and gain an extra turn, or explode 5 gems. That's pretty bad. Again, similar with that other ability. It pretty much is a crazed panda. But similar to that other ability, it has really bad value if you break down what every single one of these individual things are. A jumbling of the board with a gain an extra turn can be done by a 7 mana cost troop of the exact same color. Plus the other one has Impervious. A 5 explode is nothing for 16 mana cost. And dealing damage to all enemies for that amount of damage can be done for lower mana cost to higher damage amounts. So similarly, this seems like it's going to be really, really bad. Everything from this faction seems like it's going to be pretty bad. So I'm not sure exactly what they're going for with thematically. Or thematically it makes sense, but like mechanically I should say. Because all of them are really, really, really bad as far as what they'll be able to do. And as far as the rest of her things, she gains bonus purple mana from purple gems, so just a magic link. And Unstable Minds conjures a Madness Storm when her turns begins, which we don't currently know what color that is. But if I had to guess, based on this faction, it is a blue-purple storm. It's some kind of storm that has dual color on it. But yeah, you'd probably get a blue purple out of that. I don't think we currently know definitively what that is, unless Salty mentioned it last night. I didn't catch much of her stream. Did she mention it last night? What Madness Storm is? She'll probably mention it next Monday if we don't already know by then. But I assume it's blue purple based on this kingdom. It seems like that would be the color, because it has a troll that doubles blue purple, so it'd make a lot of sense that she would create a storm of that. Plus, she uses this 2-color. But yeah, if I had to guess, it's blue-purple is what Madness is. Is this the future of Gems of War every week? Just more of the same bad troops? There are some weeks we get bad troops. It isn't always the case. They do sometimes have like really, really underwhelming stuff occasionally. And this is one of those events that seems to be towards the underwhelming side. But now we know blue-purple storm is probably going to be useless then. Because the troop that's attached to is really bad unless they buff it. Let's see, what do we even want here? We'll grab that for now. Get our manas. Explode it all. Do skull poke and then tear out the rest. Yeah, Tolio was good the other week. And Sir Quentin this week is pretty solid. Like, the thing Sir Quentin buffs isn't good. But it's still not bad. Okay, we'll get that down for now. Poor Salty having to explain all these terrible troops. Yeah, Sir Quentin's pretty nice. There's a few good knight synergies with him. And his double convert works well with a couple of the other good double converts. Or spells can be done correctly. However, every single one of those instances is not how you do it correctly. Honestly, my favorite new mechanic of phrase in abilities that they seem to be adding, which they ended up doing with Mother of Darkness, oddly enough. Except Mother of Darkness doesn't do it well. But the concept has a potential of being well, where a troop has an effect, always, at 100% chance. But the effect is based on, do you get a kill or do you not get a kill? So if you get a kill, you get one effect, and if you don't get a kill, you get a different effect. I like that, because you could use that very well as a comeback mechanic. So if it doesn't get a kill, it does some kind of really big benefit. And if it does get a kill, it'll still give you a benefit, but something, you know, slightly different. I really love that concept. Mother of Darkness does not use it well. However, I feel like they might end up doing that pretty nicely on some troops into the future. Just kind of have to wait and see. But I like the premise of it. And that's kind of an either-or thing, except you get to choose what the either-or is. Technically. Because you'll know ahead of time which one it is based on if you kill or not kill. It also would bring up strategy to deliberately not killing enemies if they ever make the not kill option better than a kill option. Currently, every single troop's not kill option is worse than their kill option. However, it would be pretty nice to finally see an option that does have a better not kill option than a kill option. As far as mechanics similar to that. Because Mother of Darkness is the same way. Her ability when she doesn't kill is horrifically bad, to the point that she might as well have nothing. However, the ability when she does get a kill is really good. But if they did the inverse of that for a troop, it would be really good in Guild War context. Most likely. Because with Guild War, you always want to have an option to have a comeback mechanic. And that's basically a one that's directly put into the card itself. Let's see. We'll throw that down. Unfortunately, stealthies make it so we can't target for the kill, but then we just follow up and wipe it out. Yeah, Mimic has an absurd amount of things it can do. However, one of them is Devour. Mimic has about a 1 in 6 chance or so to Devour. Which you can't tell by just looking at the card, I don't think. Or wait, does it Mimic have all of them stated on it? I think Mimic actually does. Some of them don't, though. For example, what's that one M starting troop? Mono? That one Centaur thing. Or not Centaur. Gosh, why can't I remember his name? It begins with M. I'm pretty sure it's M-O. I cannot remember him. But that one brown-yellow that has like a billion different effects. Yeah, Mong. That one. That thing has like over a dozen effects. Not a single one is actually mentioned in game. I did a video on it in the past going over all the effects. However, several patches ago, for whatever reason, they added even more random effects to what he does. What that full list is to this day, I don't currently know. But it's a lot. It is a lot. I think he almost has like 20 different effects that he does on his cast. Yeah, he's not viable. For the obvious reason. That is way too random. Maybe Mongo is their test dummy. Yeah, Mongo's a really weird troop. It was added because of the old name of their servers that kept crashing. It's kind of like a whole reference to that troop. That reference is like years old at this point. No one probably even remembers the old servers. Because that was like 3.5 years ago or so. Maybe even closer to 4. I think it was 3.5. Yeah, Australian servers. So you know they're top-notch quality. No. It's not Australia's fault they're on an island in the middle of nowhere. How does class leveling work? You do a bunch of levels, you gain EXP for it. Some battles do 1 EXP, some battles do 2. As far as battles that give 2 EXP that are pretty noteworthy are things like PvP, delves, and I think those are the biggest two. And as far as the most relevant place that gives 1 EXP, it is, oh, and daily adventure board also gives 2, which is pretty relevant. And I guess pet battles as well as just any kind of low-level battle that happens to main 2. So actually, this is a little bit longer then. So it's low-level, all the good places for 2 EXP are low-level PvP, the adventure board every single day, but those are limited. Dungeons, but those are limited. Pet battles, but those are limited. Weekly events, but those are limited, like the lower end of the weekly events. All of those locations give 2 EXP each and relatively quick when doing at a low-level range like that. And other than that, as far as the best location for 1 EXP, it is spamming Explore at level 1, 2, or 3 difficulty. Normally 2 or 3. And you'll be able to get a lot of EXP that way. And basically, just based on how many battles you end up doing. The more you do, the more XP you keep getting. Like right now, we're getting 2 XP to our Barbarian class every single battle we do. Because Delves give 2 XP each per room. And he's super dead. Do you even need a follow-up? Skull just do it for us. Nice. Let's see. I somewhat hate the layout of this delve. Good loot, though. A lot of treasure rooms. You unlocked your Mongol and a Summoning Stone. Now I dropped from a chest this week. Nice. Yeah, Summoning Stones are a good way to pick up troops that you might still be missing here or there. I don't really make much mention of them because they're only really needed for probably like the first several hundred hours that you play, I think, of the game. And then they basically become 100% dead content. But they're really great for getting low rarity troops, particularly ultra rares and epics that you don't currently own that you really want. The only problem is there's only 2 of each rarity available per week as far as what's available there, which doesn't really give you much of a choice. And it takes forever to rotate through it all, just because of how many of each one there is. It does go on a rotation somewhat similar to the Legends and Mythics, if I'm not mistaken. However, it's not really kept track of because it's not really that relevant to most people, for the most part. Because anyone who would want to seek out that info are probably almost to the point where they wouldn't need to be doing that. Because it doesn't take too long to end up getting every epic and below rarity troop in the game. I think my Nintendo Switch account, when we ended up doing it, did it in a month. Though that was with a good working knowledge of the game already, though. It does take longer otherwise. Yeah, it is good to check every single week. I used to report it on Monday event videos. However, it's such a situational thing because what you actually need is based almost solely on the person. Because if you need it for kingdom upgrades for 5-star in kingdoms, which is something you'd want to do towards mid-game, make sure you get all those for 5-star kingdoms. At that point, those summoning stones are pretty good when you're still needing to get like an epic for the kingdom or something like that in order to cover all your ground to make sure that you have a wide range of troops from the kingdom. But it's basically based on the person, on what they need. Like, you can't just do like a generic, oh, hey, these are like worth crafting. Like, you can in the sense that they're useful. However, the main reason why people tend to craft them is more so because they're missing it, not necessarily because they're useful for kingdom upgrades and such. Hello, analyst. Welcome. Because it is possible to go literal months without getting a single troop drop. Like if you're trying to get a specific epic, just because it's based on pure luck. A good way to get some bounty troops to Mythic or other cards like Rowan I wouldn't really advise it to get bounty troops up to mythic, because you only get 3 copies each time, and you'd be better off just spamming gold keys. Because you only have a 1 in 8 chance that it'll set on each rarity. And while that's good if you're trying to get just a single ultra rare or single epic you need, it's really bad if you're trying to get multiple of the same kind. Let's see. You've had terrible luck with keys. It can happen. Normally, whenever a mythic comes out, everyone on the thread posts what their rate was. And sometimes you see like some really, really horrifically terrible rates as far as how many resources people went through to try to get the mythic. But then you also get the people who said, hey, I opened 1 gem key and got it. Let's see. I'll take that for now. Yeah, Ruin copies are pretty nice to have, given that she's one of the better damage sources that you get access to early on in the game. Getting your first copy is really easy. Getting her to Legendary or Mythic Ascension is a lot harder, though. Because the first copy is free off of Forest of Thorns, of course. But everything beyond that is hard to get up on her. Also, if anyone still has any other questions or anything you want me to go over, do let me know. I'll make sure to do so. Otherwise, for the most rest of the stream, we'll just be messing around with faction and getting all of our loot brought in. Also, that reminds me, the New Hampshire primaries tonight, isn't it? Wonder how the results for that are going. Actually, I could probably Google it right now. Hold up. Who's winning? If I had to guess, it's probably Bernie. What was it? How do you spell New Hampshire? New Hampshire primary. Google, you're really going to have to make me type in primary. Isn't that kind of just a given? Result. Really? You're going to make me type in results too, just to default bring it up? Come on. There you go. 28% reporting. Yeah, Bernie's winning by like 3,000 votes. I think he won Iowa by 6,000 votes. Though he got less delegates because their system is very weird. It's like the Electoral College, is how Iowa almost does it. Where you can get the popular vote but still not win. Because weirdness. I don't know, just very strange. But yeah, Bernie won Iowa by 6,000 votes, and he's currently in the lead in New Hampshire by 3,000. I'm still rooting for Andrew Yang, though, who's all the way in. Gosh, how far down is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A solid 7th place. Fighting it with Tom Steyer. Actually, nice to see that Tulsi Gabbard's doing pretty good, too. Tulsi Gabbard's only a few dozen votes behind Andrew Yang. They're probably my first 2 choices. Unfortunately, neither of them have any chance of winning. Still voting for him, though. Let's see. Okay, we'll take this new treasure room. This is a really weird treasure room. I'm not sure when exactly it came. It came in, like, the middle of nowhere. I don't even think they announced it. It just, like, randomly came into the game. But it's a pretty nice multiplier, 1.35. What do you use for faction after Gargoyle wears out of its effectiveness? I'd probably switch to Ketris for something like this. Run a double Ketris with Yasmin's Pride, if you happen to have that. Alternatively, you can also run Mang's Skull Spam. We do have access to brown and purple. Brown and purple has an absurd amount of skull spam. Between those 2 colors, you have access to almost every good skull spam option in the game, except for a couple of the double converters. All like the standalone skull spammers tend to use brown or purple. Not the double converters, but the ones that there are double converters that cover those colors. As far as just like normal damage, works pretty well. But yeah, for 0 or from 20 to about 100, you could probably get away with this. From 100 to 200, you'd probably go skull spam. And then for the last 200 to 500, there's a couple different options you could do. But you could do skull spam, you can do hiking iron guts, you can use trying to think of what happens on purple. You can use Zugoff if you happen to have it laying around. You can use, I think those are our main options. So you can use upscaling, Ketris the Bull, skull spam, Iron Gut, Zugoff, and those are probably the main options. You did not have Truffle, unfortunately. Truffle does not work on those colors. So a good majority of like the instant kill kind of things tend to be available for this faction. Yeah, you can use High King Iron Gut. It's just High King Iron Gut you don't tend to use until about 200 or so. You can use it a bit earlier if you want. However, there normally are quicker options for the lower range. Like if I wanted to go to 200, I'd probably switch over to Ketris's before I would switch over to Iron Gut. Mountain Crusher, Isabel, Diviner, and Infernus. Yeah, that would end up working. Yeah, Diviner is available on brown, so you can use that with good yellow-purple troops. And that would work out perfectly fine. There's several of them that exist. Divinish Follow is one. Okay, that'll be your first Gargoyle. Before I do it, though, I actually want to get a little bit more mana just so we have both of them up so we don't have to wait on it. And now it's cast the cast, and that's match. Let's see, we'll take that. They're offering it on the Switch with 500 gems for $10. Was wondering if that was a good deal. Oh, sorry, what troop are you referring to, Johnny? Oh, is Imp of Love? No, Imp of Love is not worth it. Imp of Love you can get currently right now for all of March and all of February. You can get it in Glory Gem Guild and VIP chest. It's a random drop. However, you can get it by other means. So I wouldn't really go out of your way to bother spending 10 bucks on it. It's not really that good a value. So far, most of the daily offers they've been doing for the Valentine's thing have been pretty average value. Nothing like so outstanding that you'd want to go for it necessarily. The best value so far, honestly, I'd probably say was the one they had yesterday with those 15 gifts. If you're a person that likes giving the gifts to your guild, it actually was cheaper and better gem value to have gotten the 15-1 yesterday than it was if you would have gotten in the 20-pack instead. But aside from that, there hasn't been any particularly good value one so far. What's a good gem to real money ratio? As far as what you want to be aiming for gem to real money ratio, you want to be looking for at least a... what even is the ratio these days? If you're looking to spend money. I should probably make another video on that. The one I most recently did is like years old at this point. Let's see. What even is the ratio these days? I think it is every dollar is 50 gems at minimum as far as physical gems. But you want to be aiming for a gem value of at least like 75, not 100. And the main reason for that is I base it off of Vault events. Vault events have, what is it? It's $2, if I'm not mistaken, for 100 gems and a vault key. A vault key's value is pretty hard to pin down, but I personally value it at about 80 gems. And even if you only value it at 50 gems, that comes out to a 75 gem value per dollar. And if you count it as 80 gems, which is why I personally counted that, it is around a, what is that, like a 7.8 or something? Or sorry, 78 gem value or something? It's somewhere around there. What's the average of 75 with 80? Yeah, that'd be 77.5, right? Yeah, somewhere around there. But it's about 75 gem value, essentially. As long as you're aiming for something around that, it's probably okay. It really just depends on if you actually want what the additional thing is within the offer, more often than not. Sometimes even when gems are on sale for multiple percents, it's actually not worth getting them. It depends what your VIP bonus actually is, because that also determines how many more gems you get. However, there are some areas where you would get better value than every gem being 50 gem value. I mean, every dollar being 50 gem value, I mean. I'm trying to think. What does it come out to on the current 100? On the current 100, isn't it only 15 gems per dollar? Or am I reading that wrong? No, it's normally 15 gems per dollar. So even if it's on a sale, you're only getting, I believe, like 40 gems per hour, because they end up boosting it up a lot, and then it just doesn't come out to as good of a value as the flash offers. Is basically the bottom line of those. Because if I go break down the math for the one I currently have right now, with no sales or anything, it's pretty bad value. Buying gems in Gems of War isn't really worth it if it's on anything other than a flash offer. And even the flash offers aren't necessarily always worth it, just because some are better than others. But let me go break it down real quick. Speaking of gems, 15 free gems there. But let me break that down based on what we currently have. And this is off of VIP, what's our VIP level? Because it actually matters to how much extra gems you get. It's off of VIP 6, which gives us 30% extra gems from this. So if we were to spend 100, like you can see how bad these are compared to flash offers. If we did 100 right now, that is 1,950. What does that break down to per thing? Actually, I could do that in my head. 1,950, that means it is 19.5 gems per dollar. That is pretty bad value. It's 19.5 gems per dollar, whereas right now this is 50 gems per dollar, which is pretty much the standard for flash offers. Every single flash offer is at minimum, almost always, 50 gems per dollar. And then they just have some kind of extra effect on top of it, is basically what those do. Yeah, so far the best value pretty much is always vault keys during a gnome event, if you're actually going to spend money on the game. They normally have a limit of like 5 or 8 of them that you can get. And it's 100 gems and a vault key for $2, which is pretty good value. They've done even slightly better value like that before, like adding 10 epic trait stones to it before. I didn't personally go for those, even though it seemed really tempting, because epics were actually quite a bit needed. And I still technically need them. I think I need 400 more epics or so. But it's pretty much tied at the best value they've ever done. They only really do it during Vault events, though, and ever so occasional other holidays. Not sure if they're going to do it for the Valentine's Day thing. Okay, take that out, throw that down. Because even if you compare it to the Vault Key one that they ran a couple days ago, it's not even as good a value. Because Vault Key is at most worth 50 gems, though its actual value is closer to 40 gems? I forget what exactly it is. I think 45? Because if you buy them in bulk, I believe they're 45 gems each. So they gave, I think, 100 gems and a VIP key for $2 the other day. But that's pretty bad value if you compare it to a Vault Key. Just because the Vault Key, generally speaking, will have better overall value than a VIP key will. If you break down the value of all the loot that you can actually get from it. What do we go for here? Let's go for that. VIP keys have actually been pretty dead content for a while. I used to open a lot of them if you ever look at like videos from like years back, but they haven't really been meta for anything for about 2 years now, which is kind of surprising because you have to spend $130 on the game to even have access to them as far as infinitely buying them with gems. But yeah, they haven't been viable for a very, very long time in the current state of the game. I'm kind of surprised they haven't tried changing that, because it is a pretty effective gem sink if they were to ever make them viable again. I think the main reason why they don't want to make them too viable again is just to not make it seem pay to win. Because there was one point in this game where it almost seemed like you had to go and get $130 spent on the game just so you'd have access to those keys. But that's not really the case at all anymore in the current state of the game. But at one point it was, and still technically is, the best gem conversion rate for Mythic Chance. It has twice the rate of getting a Mythic compared to spending the exact same amount of gems on gem keys. So spending, let's say, like 5,000 gems on gem keys compared to spending 5,000 gems on VIP keys, the VIP keys would have double the chance of giving you a Mythic relative to the same amount of gems spent. That's the only benefit VIP keys have. The only problem with that is in the current state of the game, at least later in the game, like way later in the game, you get enough keys naturally throughout the game's progression to pretty much keep up with the rate of new mythics coming into the game, for the most part. That doesn't happen until way later in the game, but you do eventually reach a point where it keeps up with the rate of newer content. It's one of the reasons why all of our key stacks look like this, because it is possible to keep up with the rate. Also, we have a lot of VIP keys I've been saving from various things. Got like 12 of them we're sitting on that we haven't used yet. Feels weird seeing even a number next to that. For the longest of time, you weren't able to actually buy any. Or, you know, not buy any, but you weren't able to actually, like, accumulate the physical keys of it. But then they added multiple methods over time. Oh, so why am I doing this? This isn't even what I meant to be doing. I need to go back to, faction. I don't mean to be farming. Let me go grab this. Guilds will help with that, that's for sure. Yeah, VIP keys do have a pretty big section of trade stones. I'm actually surprised they made it that big. I wish they would make it a bit smaller, or even just completely remove trade stones from it. They deliberately made sure not to add ingots to it for the exact same reason, or the reason that trade stones are an issue for it. But for whatever reason, they never removed trade stones from its drop table. Ooh, pure shards. That's exactly what I want to see. Nice. I will take that over for now. Get our splodies. Grab a other explosion down. Get our gargoyle down, and be good to go. Anything else we need? Take a red for now. Grab a skull, and that should be enough to kill with our gigantic attack value. And he'd be dead. So what levels are Barbarian these days? Because we have been using this entire time to gain some free XP. 46. It's definitely going to be 47 by the end of this. So close yet so far. I will throw those down. Definitely don't want those bullets moving out of our team. It's always annoying when it does. And down it goes. Okay, do we need that? Yes. No. So we'll take this one. They have given us some VIP keys from events and such, but you haven't actually ever got any troops from opening them. If you had paid for that, I'd complain. Yeah, their drop rate makes it seem like you have a pretty good chance, and you do have a pretty good chance. However, it's obviously not guaranteed like any key. But yeah, they have a 1% chance each for a mythic, which sounds good on paper, but you have to keep in mind 1% is still pretty low. Like very, very low. Even though it's a full percent rather than like all the really small, like fraction of a percent kind of for other keys. You get so few of them that it's still effectively a very low rate. I'm currently sitting on what, 12 VIP keys? What does the math come out to that one? I think it's around a what is 12 1%? Isn't that like a 9-point-something% chance or something? Somewhere around there. So that's not excessively high that we'd end up getting a mythic from it. It's like an 8 or 9 or something% chance. Somewhere's around there. Gosh, I hate the layout of this place. Yeah, 50 VIP keys give you a 39.5% chance to get one mythic. And the 50 VIP keys cost you 2,250 gems. Which is obviously not a small amount. That's pretty much how much we throw down for an entire pure faction. It's not even guaranteed chance. Is there a video explaining how to level factions? What horde level should the faction be before doing pure faction, etc.? I've kind of gone over it some, not those exact specifics. Generally, when doing pure faction, you'd want to aim for around, obviously at least 100, but normally towards about a 150 or 200 as far as the level that you'd want to have it at. It's not required, especially if you're running potions, it's definitely not required. But as far as just leveling it, just using normal teams that we've gone over teams for all the factions before. Like using those teams to get to 500 is basically how you get about leveling it. As far as pure faction, it's pretty much just comes down to resources, because there are two resources that matter the most when doing a pure faction: gold and gems. Because gems, if you just go do it on a Tuesday event, like right now for Silver Necropolis, you can just instantly buy infinite stats, essentially, with gems. And gold matters because you can basically do it with gold as well, where you can use your gold, or you can use your treasure plus your gold in order to upgrade factions. And then with that, you end up getting higher stats, which will allow you to do delves. The biggest issue with pure faction is doing them without potions is very ridiculously hard, as you guys have probably seen from when we tried doing Hall of Guardians with multiple attempts. I probably tried it like over 100 times until we finally got it a couple weeks ago. But the strategy is generally just, in the current state of the game, ignore them until you own almost every troop in the game, as far as pure faction. And the progression for getting them up, you don't even start worrying about that until late game. And by late game, I mean like you want to be at least level 1100 before you even start worrying about leveling up factions. And at that point, you pretty much just do it with whatever quickest instant kill option you have. So that tends to be either Iron Gut, or Catches the Bull with Yasmin's Pride, or Skull Spam with a Mank. These kind of options tend to be what you run all the way to 500 with in various factions, depending on what the faction allows, or Zugoff if you happen to have it laying around. But faction upgrading in general isn't something that you do till way later, because it costs a lot, it takes a lot of time, and well, it either costs a lot and or takes a lot of time, and you don't really need it. Like, the amount of benefit you get relative to the cost is really bad, so you don't tend to do it until absolute last as far as progression in the game. You should be worrying way more about using your gems and resources to prioritize upgrading troops rather than trying to do factions for the most part. Like, you still want to be doing your daily factions, obviously, but you can easily farm them at a low-level faction if you want to. For example, it is actually better loot just to constantly farm something like City of Thieves at level 20 forever than it is to go and get every single faction to 500, as weird as that may seem, as far as from the actual loot perspective. Of course, there are some unique benefits that you do end up getting from having a higher renown. Those main benefits are having more pets, as well as having slightly higher stats. The stats don't make up too many stats, but as time goes on, it keeps going higher and higher. And the next stat that coming into the game is pretty relevant, because it'll be the first time where factions will give +1 magic. And of course, magic is a very useful stat, the most useful in the game in most situations. You bought 200 VIP keys during last Mythic week, and you didn't get a Mythic. Ooh, that definitely hurts. So it's definitely not guaranteed. I have thrown 250 at one and haven't gotten it before. However, once I did the next 50 to go do 300, I did. But yes, it did take me 300 VIP keys before to get a Mythic. I believe it was, what's her name? It's the blue, yellow, purple undead troop. The queen of, no, she doesn't have queen in her name. Amnesia. Amnesia took us, I believe, 300 VIP keys. It was either 250 or 300 is how many it took us to get her. It was an absurd amount. I think she was the most expensive mythic I've ever gotten. It cost me over 10,000 gems to get her. Actually, I think it almost cost us 15,000 gems or so. Somewhere around there. Like, probably closer to 13,000, actually. But it was an absurd amount of gems. That was back when opening VIP keys were still viable. What do we grab here? Take that. I wouldn't really advise doing pure faction level 300 in order to get the pet, because you can do pure faction 100 in order to have the pet. Pure faction 100 is the absolute minimum you would need to do for pure faction. It doesn't really waste any of your time, because trying to do much higher than 200 can be pretty difficult to do for pure faction and pretty time consuming. The reason you want to have at minimum 100 though is if you have 100, you'll be able to have a level 10 pet for when you finally go do pure faction. Because once you reach 500, you'll have 2,100 renown if you do a 100 pure faction. And 2,100 renown is enough to get a pet, as well as additional 5 copies of the pet, which allows you to upgrade it to epic rarity, which allows you to get it to level 10, which gives you 2.5 times the bonus. So you get almost the entirety of the bonus by going and doing that. But even not doing it's not too big a deal. Just from owning the pet, from getting to 2,000 renown, will give you a 2.25 bonus. So going for that 100 only gives you an additional 0.25. Similarly, if you were to go through 300 like you said, I wouldn't really advise that. However, if you were to do that, that would give you an additional 0.25 as you mentioned. That's the next threshold for doing so. However, 300 pure faction is pretty difficult to do. Not as difficult as a 500 obviously, but definitely not easy. It's not something that would necessarily be keepable on first attempts without potions. And if you're doing potions, then definitely just go all the way to 500. But you shouldn't really be buying potions to do 500 pure factions. Pretty much until you own almost every troop in the game. Because it is really horrifically bad value. The loot that you get in return relative to how many gems you'd have to spend to get there. Let's see, we'll throw that down. Okay, I'll throw that down. And then get a gargoyle down. Yeah, so far I've only done 2 factions without potions. Of all the factions. It was Crypt, which is the absolute easiest to do without potions. And Hall of Guardians, which oddly enough, I'm not sure why I chose that one, but that's actually one of the harder ones to do without potions. But at least we got an easy and a hard one done, if nothing else. Oh, so we almost got all the battles in. We're almost there. I guess let's get that for now. If anyone still has any other questions, do let me know. So we'll probably wrap up after the finish out all rewards. See what we get from our shiny orbs. Hopefully something good. Let's see. Will we get enough points by then? We might actually get it, so we don't even need to touch the next faction. The main reason for that is this this delve has really good multipliers. I believe this delve still has the 3rd best loot of any delve in the entire game, which is still pretty relevant. Obviously, it's not as good as City of Thieves or Mirrored Halls or stuff like that, but still pretty high up there as far as overall loot. Event video will be up soon. If not tonight, very, very early tomorrow. So if you still have any questions about factions for today, do let me know. Otherwise, it won't actually be in the video. I'll probably still mention Life and Death in the video, just because it's so relevant that we kind of have to. Especially since it's Guild War week, which makes it even more relevant. But aside from that, I probably won't be mentioning anything faction related in it, since it would have already passed by then, by the time I record it. Sorry that hasn't been out yet. I don't know, I just have been feeling really off today, personally. Not sure what it is, but should hopefully get it done very, very soon, TM. Let's see, we'll take that one for now. And then we have Find the Battle. I don't think I'm getting sick with anything, though. Let's see, we'll go get that. Because I haven't been feeling, like, under the weather, kind of sick. What do I grab here? Let's get that for now. We'll take the first slot out. And we should hopefully be able to kill that. Gosh, the days when Lady Sapphira was meta. I'm actually kind of glad she isn't anymore. She was a really annoying troop to deal with. They almost never see her art anymore because she's such a relevant troop in the current state of the game. Let's see. What's your red Guild War team? Offensively, we ran Ragnagord, Yagwe, Queen Titania, and Dawnbringer. And we ran that with Sun Spear hero class. Ended up working out pretty well. However, we did have one battle where we only had 1 troop remaining. However, we got trolled with a Death Mark and a 10% transform. Essence of Evil ended up destroying us pretty hard. But we didn't lose, so that was nice. Yeah, that's the only real big downside with the team I just mentioned. It has no resummon if you do fall behind. Though Dawnbringer is normally enough with Barrier that you can survive in those kind of situations if you need like a backup plan to not die. But yeah, it's this team right here is what we end up running with. 1 second. Also, was that all the loot we needed? It was! That's what I thought, because all the bitter multipliers made it so we had enough points. So theoretically, we didn't need to throw this 30 gems, but it still saved time. But here's what I ran for Guild War Red. We ran Ragnagord, Yagwe, Queen Titania, and Dawnbringer as Sunspear. And the basic strategy is get Ragnagord up as immediately as possible. Run the team with 20% extra mana start and 8 magic. And if you don't have 8 magic, run it with 16 HP instead. and that will help Yagway get a little bit extra damage and help keep him alive. Or you can even just run it with HP to begin with, just to help keep Ragnagord alive too, while still giving Yagway additional damage. Really depends what you're up against on if you want the magic or the HP. But the basic premise is cast Ragnagord. If you have Yagway Queen to Tanya alignment, use it. Otherwise, probably go for a Dawnbringer for safety. Then try getting Yagway to Queen to Tanya to work, and then you go from there. Why is it in this order? Mostly because if you need Ragnagord to not die, you can give it HP and just go down that strategy. Also because you can rush up your mana enough that you can use Dawnbringer to keep your team alive. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird order in that you normally would want to have a better tank in first slot. However, this team is based on ideally trying to win before the enemy can do anything to you. We had that happen for 2 of our Guild War battles today, where we won pretty much so quickly that we almost one-turned the enemy. Because you can just Ragnagord in a Yagway Queen to Tanya loop to ideally rush them down. It's not an actual like infinite loop, but it has a capability to loop some, and you can normally win off that loop prior to it actually ending the loop. Because Yagway can pretty much just keep getting double kills, Queen to Tanya keeps getting Fairy Fire, and you can throw some free AoEs if you have 13 plus reds on the board. It takes a proper board alignment, which you don't always get, and Dawnbringer's kind of just there as the backup plan for when you don't get it. It does fall apart quite a bit if it does fall behind, and also if you get frozen a lot. But overall, it's decent. I personally like using it. It's a little bit of a high risk, high reward kind of team, but it's one of the easier ways to use Yagway Queen to Tanya if you wanted to try using it for this day. Otherwise, you might want to go with a tank, but that might slow it down if we were to go for that rather than a Ragnagord. It'd make it safer, and it might even increase its win rate, but I think it would actually reduce its overall score for when it does end up doing good, just because of how sluggish the team would end up being, which can also be bad against some teams. Like, for example, we were up against Essence of Evil, which when we're put on a timer with Deathmark, it would have been at disadvantage, because Deathmark doesn't care how much protection we have up front, because it could just target things down, disable our damage sources, and randomly kill them off a Deathmark. Same as Life and Death. When we were up against that one Life and Death team, you kind of just have to rush it down with damage and just hope you can out-damage it prior to it getting lucky, the enemy that is. Oh yeah, what's the color for tomorrow? I believe it was brown, if I'm not mistaken. What is tomorrow's Guild War Day? Tomorrow's Guild War Day is the color of, hey, I was right, brown. So we got Brown Day tomorrow. As far as Brown offensive, I think I was going to revamp my Brown team. I think that's still one of them I'm not 100% happy with. What are we running for Guild War Brown? Oh yeah, this is one of them I know what I was going to do. I was going to finally switch over to a Wild Queen for Brown Day. We just had Wild Queen and Soulforge, I believe last week, right? A week or 2 weeks ago. But I think I'm going to go use a Wild Queen method this time around and see what we could do. Because I love the premise of this team. It just honestly does not work good for Guild War, though. Like, it can win. It just scores so horribly. It's like a 9,100 score, even though it has decent consistency. But it still loses occasionally. But I think we're going to go and replace this out for some kind of Wild Queen team. I kind of have to figure out what we're going to do with that tomorrow. But figure something else out and see what we can get working. What's a good cheap brown team with the Glaceon? You can run Glaceon with Bloodhammer. You can run Glaceon. Trying to think of what you do for mana generation on that team. Oh, you could probably use Cockatrice. I actually did that on my Nintendo Switch account, except not with Bloodhammer. But it's Glaceon, Cockatrice, one other option, and Bloodhammer would be the team. Cockatrice has +1 into itself, so you can go use that for a mana drain. You could go Gorgoltha. I feel like Cockatrice is the slightly better option. It depends what you're up against. One of the main reasons I say that is you already have skull reduction off of Glaceon is 65%, which is almost the same as Gorgoltha's 75%. And unless you're up against really heavy skull spam, you don't really need both. But the reason I say Cockatrice as well is not only does it have mana drain to get rid of abilities, but it completely entangles them out. So instead of taking 65% damage, you'd be taking 0% damage if you can end up getting them entangled. And you can use mana drain to keep them down. It's one of the only few browns that creates brown, Cockatrice, and you can run it like that. Mountain Crusher, I wouldn't really advise Mountain Crusher in first slot. It can be done. If you are going to run it in first slot, obviously you do want to go run it with something like Titan. If you're going to bother running a Glaceon, I feel like running the Glaceon in first might be the better way to go. But yeah, you can run Mountain Crusher with it. You can also run it behind it if you wanted to. It's going to be a little bit slower, but it helps keep your... it helps keep it so you get more points. Because if they're going to be taking a lot of skulls off of skulls... Honestly, it really comes down to if they're skull spamming or not. Yeah, honestly. If they're not skull spamming, it's probably better to use Mountain Crusher in first. If they are skull spamming, it's probably better to use Glaceon on first. It really just depends on if they have something that creates skulls or not. And if they do, then you'd want to have skull reduction. If they don't, then you want to probably have barrier. spam off of Mountain Crusher, Titan, or whatever hero class you decide to go with it. It's something that you'd have to adapt based on what team they're using. Which I feel like I should be doing more in Guild Wars. I tend to use the same team every single time just to kind of gauge how it will do. But in doing so, we also don't take advantage of actually switching stuff out that might be able to hard counter things that are on the opposing team. Should probably do that a little bit more often. What kind of team would you use to farm glory with the weekly troop? 4 times knights viable. The weekly troop I wouldn't really advise using just for the extra glory. You'd be better off just waiting till a gnome event to go get your glory. Getting the +5 glory off of that would be okay. However, it's such a bad troop that it doesn't add any kind of value to your team. So it's not really worth bothering to put it there. Every single one of the troops that do a buff like that, where they end their turn and just give a small buff to something and double if they're a certain type, all of them are really bad, and she is no different. And honestly, I would just wait until a gnome event comes around and farm your glory that way. Because doing grinding for like just a few hours during a gnome event will net you more glory than if you were to farm with that for like 12 hours this week. So it's just much better value for your time waiting until then. But I wouldn't really bother with it. If it was a better glory troop, I'd probably say it could be worth it just to farm some glory. But she adds no value to your team and any team that you use her for. She's completely dead content upon arrival, unfortunately. But anyways, any other questions, anyone? Otherwise, I'm going to be heading out for tonight. Let's see. We got one more question. Integral. What do you think about Great Maul, Withering Staff, Ragnagord, and Yasmin's Chosen? Interesting. I haven't used a Great Maul team in a very, very long time. It used to be so meta in the past. These days, not so much. However, that doesn't sound too bad. It could potentially be worth it. Normally with Yasmin's Chosen, I do like having a backup green. But in that team, I guess it wouldn't matter as much because you can kind of use Ragnagord to mana accumulate off the explosion for the Yasmin. Not sure if we're all with that, but it definitely sounds like it has viability if you were to. Not to mention you get Entangle off the Withering Staff, so you don't need to worry about backup skull spam in case your Yasmin isn't enough to deny them all out. But anyways, guys, I'm going to be heading out for now. Thank you so much for stopping by. Leave a like if you enjoyed the stream. We'll be back tomorrow, same time as always, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hour and a half prior to now tomorrow. And I will be getting the event video up as soon as I possibly can. Not sure if it'll be up tonight, but I will be doing that 100% tomorrow. So I'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful rest of your week, everyone. And have a wonderful Valentine's Day coming up soon. We're getting the Valentine's Day pet tomorrow, that cosmetic pet, so make sure to pick that up. And of course, Valentine's Day is this Friday, and we have no event video for, no event itself for Gems of War that day. So, yeah, we'll be able to do whatever that day. But anyways, guys, catch you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye, everyone. Good night.